AMG Hobby Talk number 71. Steve, the collector, scalps collector, the people, and I trying to get our coffee on. Daylight savings is a hell of a drug. Steve, how are you?
I am jacked up on coffee and ready to rock.
I'm not. I need a lot more. But nonetheless, we will trudge on. So, on this episode, we're going to focus on EX 2000. That's the big one that comes as part of the breakdown on this. I don't see it on the list here, but it is part of it. We've got a bunch of other products as well. So, I will mention, we'll go through the products here. But as I go through them, remember the usual thing that I'll say is that if you do have questions about availability or pricing, this isn't the venue where you're going to be able to get that answer. The best bet is to reach out directly to the store, use one of the contact points provided. I scroll across the bottom there, the Instagram and the website. Both are good contact points to be able to get the info. If you reach out directly to the store, though, you'll be able to get how many boxes are available, pricing, all that good stuff. Any other questions you have, that'll be the quickest way to get an answer. If it's something that's less time sensitive and doesn't involve a direct price, then certainly leave a comment in the comment section and we can respond to it in kind on the following episode. So what I'll do, and one other thing as well, somewhere along the way here, we may get a guest who will give us an update on something, but we don't know at what point during the show. So we're going to go on, and then we'll see how far we get before we're joined in by a guest. So let me go over a couple of products that came in the store. So 2023 historic autograph baseballs. That's one that Steve and I were talking about just before we hit record. That's kind of an interesting one. It says historic autograph baseballs, but that sounds very similar to the old TriStar, like similar kind of product to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be along the same lines. Of course, there's a couple hits like I think Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, a few of the big names, but it's just something we haven't had in the store in a while. It's probably been 3 years since we had kind of the, like you said, TriStar sort of autographed item. So and the price on it's going to be reasonable. So it's not going to be several $100s or anything like that. It's just something that, is worth a try and just something different.
Nice. So that sounds good. So again, pricing and quantity, you're going to want to reach out to the store for that. So I'll go through a couple of these quickly. If there's anyone that, Steve, that particularly you want to hit on, you can certainly let me know. So 2024 Panini Prospect Edition Baseball, kind of similar to what you're talking about, a prospect product there. 2024 Panini Obsidian Football. So if you're familiar with the Obsidian, kind of a fun product, some nice design on that. 2024 Photogenic Football. Photogenic has become kind of it's kind of Panini's answer to Stadium Club. Very photography based. So that kind of thing is kind of interesting. 2024 Panini Prism Football Hobby Blaster boxes. 2024 Panini Prism Football Blaster itself. 2024 Panini Prism Live Golf, personal favorite of everybody. 2024 WNBA Prism. So we got WNBA Prism Basketball as well. 2025 Baseball Series 1 Hanger boxes. 2025 Topps Baseball Series 1 Retail. 2024 Topps Chrome Football Hobby Box. And 2024 Topps Chrome Football Breakers Delight. If you're not familiar with that one, it's a smaller form factor. The box, it's basically just hits. You give it similar to what you would expect. It is designed for breakers predominantly, but if you're somebody who wants to get straight to the hits and doesn't want to worry about the base, that's what it's built for. It will be priced accordingly, though. It tends to be more expensive than the hobby box. So just bear that in mind. 2024 Garbage Pail Kids Chrome Value Box. So if you like the old Garbage Pail Kids, there's a chromium version of it. And 2024 Upper Deck DC Annual is another one that's on this list here.
Yep. And also, Carlos, it appears you didn't receive the second page. We do have some O-Pee-Chee hockey blasters coming. So I know the O-Pee-Chee did shockingly well, and we've sold out of it. But Blair's, yeah, Blair, you can hop on, bud, if you want. We miss you. Blair just walked in, so we'll get him on.
Look at that. Bonus, Blair. My goodness.
So yeah, we don't have a lot of the O-Pee-Chee blasters, but they will be here on Wednesday. And then of course the EX 2000, which will go into a little more detail, is coming as well.
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah, no, I see it. Sorry, it was at the bottom there. I didn't scroll all the way down. I mean, I'm not used to seeing the second image included in the first. Okay, no, that's perfect. But thank you for that. So yeah, O-Pee-Chee Hockey Blaster and then the EX 2000, which we'll talk about here in a second. Let me go over, let's do this. I'll go over a couple of cards that came in the store, the ones that you sent me images of, so we'll talk about that. And we do have a nice little grouping of vintage, which I've got here at the end of it. So we can touch on those briefly. And then, like I said, if we get interrupted along the way, we'll adjust accordingly. But let me quickly showcase a couple of these things.
And Carlos, actually, Brad just asked if you could send him the link because he wants to jump on and join this fun as well.
All right, hold on. Mr. Hartling gets his own customized link. How fancy.
I just let the cat out of the bag who our guest celebrity might be. It wasn't Blair. Blair just was late getting here.
Unbelievable. You'd think for a pre-recorded episode, Steve, this feels live. You know, you're getting it live to
It
tape
does.
right now
Yeah.
as
Well,
we're going along.
we want our viewers to have that feeling that
There
it's
you go.
live.
So here's some bonus, Blair. Blair,
Very.
thank you for showing up.
Cool. Hey, I'm sure he would have carried on without me.
You were fighting the mob of screaming, adoring fans asking for your autograph. So how are you?
Good. Yeah, no autographs.
All right. So I expect, listen, Blair, I expect from you, if you're gonna, come in tardy, I'm gonna pick on you to make sure I'm gonna demand some really good answers when I point to you. We're gonna need some really good answers to some questions. All right, Steve, I got a question for you anyway from the comments. So before Brad shows up here, let me do this one quickly. Everyone's favorite Hockey 99. It's got a comment on here. Hi panel. Where are ultra modern hockey PMG reds and greens in the pantheon of hockey cards? So we'll touch on that here in a second. PS included a PS on here. I don't know why I have this distinction. My comments activate the collector the scallop's central nervous system. Steve is a local treasure, so he's trying to play both sides on this one, Steve. So real quick, I want to come back to the comment here in a second. Let me I'll answer the first one and then you guys can take a stab at it. Ultra modern PMG red and greens in the pantheon, very low, and I'll tell you why I say so. Not because they're not good. We don't have the history of them in hockey. The original precious metal gems didn't happen in hockey at all. 97-98 Metal Universe didn't have them. It was just a base set. And then it had inserts, of course. But because we didn't get the PMGs in the first go around, it didn't develop that original legacy the same way that on the other ones. They did add the PMGs after the fact, but this is after the original 90s run. So it never quite got the same photo. We never got the Kobe PMG, the Jordan PMG. We didn't get the Gretzky PMG until after. So that's why it never got to attach itself the same way as in basketball or football or baseball.
Yeah, and they're popular as well. I just know they're just so condition sensitive that they also can be very frustrating because you pull a big card of somebody and then for those that like grading they send it in and it comes back a PSA 6 or a 7. So I don't know what can be done about that, but they are such a condition sensitive card. But yeah, if you can get a high grade on one, obviously you can probably move it for a pretty penny. But I like the PMGs, but I'm more of an old school guy and like the the older cards.
Makes sense. So real quick, so Brad, if you're good, give me a thumbs up, and then I'll bring you on here. So Brad, we're gonna talk a little bit about PSA, but before we do, actually, you can answer this question because basically the question was, where do ultra modern hockey PMG red and greens go into pantheon of hockey cards? So I said very low relative to some of the other ones because we didn't have the 97 PMGs. That never happened. We got them after the fact, so it kind of got shoehorned in. So like we never got a 97 Gretzky PMG. That didn't happen. So that's why you don't have an equivalent Jordan. You don't have the Kobe. You don't have any of those. We got it later, but in hockey it doesn't have the same legacy. We got Series 2, Run 2 later on after the fact.
I agree with you. Yeah, I like the 2012-13. I'm working on that 13-14 blue PMG set, but without having that 97, that does affect it. I'm completely confused too. Is Blair, are you actually really there? Is that like a picture of you? Okay, because
It's in his car.
He's zen. He was focused. He was locked in.
Because I was told Blair wasn't here. I left. I went and got a smoothie. I walked back. I didn't think I locked the door, and I'm like, maybe I did lock the door. Anyway, now I understand what happened.
Listen, Brad, do not question the amount of CGI that I got for this show. The budget is going up. I'm just letting you guys know my budget for the rest of the year is going to be off the charts. It's going to be incredible. You don't even know.
I estimated my time of arrival at 9:13, and I got here at 9:10.
Wow, incredible! A whole 3 minutes early. Appreciate it.
Faster
All right, so
than
Brad.
the app told me.
Yeah. All right. So, Brad, obviously you're joining us here for a special edition. You and I did have a conversation about PSA Canada's response, the tariffs and everything. I did that on my YouTube channel. It's well received. Some people had some good questions and things on it, so I responded to some of that. Feedback was very good on it. Is there any updates or anything you want to give us?
Yeah, we're still working through the process right now. Everything is business as usual at PSA Canada. Our dealers are submitting directly to us here. Any customer can submit directly to us here via the mail, visit psacanada.ca, or any customers that are local continue doing what you've been accustomed to doing. Bring your cards in, drop them off to us here. There's no delays. We're shipping cards out, two to three times a week. Cards are arriving and cards are coming back every day. So, there's some rumors, there's different things of delays here and there. There's no delays at all for PSA Canada. There was a few. We're trying to work out some. I don't want to get into too many details on it, but we're working out ways that there's completed orders now that have been shipped to us in the US direct by customers that have been in the completed stage, and we're working to get those cards back as soon as possible. And the narrative, I won't get into the details, but the narratives is that we're working to get these cards back to customers so they do not receive any additional fees. As you know, now the US has dropped the import tariffs temporarily, but Canada, we have not. So now your orders are all orders, everything crossing the border from the US into Canada, regardless of what it is subject to a 25% tariff. So yeah, it's changing almost daily, but I can assure anybody that has any questions about, we have a full team that's leading this, and everything that we are doing as a company at this point is in the customer's best interest. So.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the comments, one of the responses I left with one of the commenters that was asking, is I just said, if you are submitting yourself directly, reach out to whomever you're dealing with, because they're going to have to deal with it on their end of it. But the other part of it as well, kind of what you're touching on, is that by the time we had done a live, and we did it live, we did it with folks in the chat and everything, that was the answer that day. Things changed immediately within 24 hours. So it's one of those things can change constantly. So we could give you an answer right now, and it might not apply by tomorrow. So it's one of those things where it's fluid. The point is it's fluid. It's changing consistently. The only thing we know is that we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And we can answer for today, and that's about it.
Correct. And as of today, and since this started, it's business as usual at PSA Canada. Submit your cards to us. We got you taken care of. So
perfect. Now, anything else then you want to add, or do you want to join us in here? Because I'm going to do the EX 2000. So I don't know if you want to join in commenting on this, because it's speaking of 90s themed, this is very much following in the footsteps of the 1990s version of EX 2000. So you want to be in on this one, Brad?
You know what? I'm going to take off to get back. I've got a ton of items to ship out now that I know Bonus Blair is here. It's good. But Carlos, me and you, we'll connect this week. I wanted to get on the live Friday. I just simply couldn't. But we'll follow up. We'll do another video on your channel at some point, just to do a little update and everything else. And we'll catch up later this week. Otherwise, I'll see Bonus Blair and Collector of the Skull and Steve once they're done.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks, Carlos.
Thank you, Brad.
Later.
All right. So as Brad is saying as well, we'll do any follow-up that we end up doing will be on my channel. In this case, I generally don't, but if there's going to be any follow-up on it, I'll actually include a link to my YouTube channel in the description as well. But the name here kind of gives it away. That's where it is. But I'll include a link in there just to make it easy for folks if they want to figure out where it is. Because if we do any update, we did the one PSA Canada discussion. That was on the channel, and people got a chance to see it, but I'll link to it so that you have access to it if you want to check it out. And if we've got any follow-ups with Brad, I'll make sure it's labeled accordingly so you can follow with it. Okay, let's do this. In that case, what I'll do is I'll finish what we were about to do, which is to go through a couple of cards that came in the store. We've got some newer stuff, and then we got some vintage that we'll include on there. And then we'll finish up with the X2000. And that's how we'll work the episode. All right, so let's start off here where we were. So originally, I was going to show this one here. So we got a Celebrini Outburst Silver, which is a really nice start on that. Obviously, a lot of people are chasing this one. And we talked about this before, but the Outbursts are really attractive looking cards. So the Young Gun Outburst is a really nice pickup on that one.
Yeah, we've been getting, inundated with, customers trying to sell their Mitch Causes Celebrinis, but I've been kind of telling them we're just going to hold off for a week or so until the market settles a little bit, because they're kind of going through the roof right now. So we have to, wait till the market levels out a little bit.
Absolutely. So speaking of the Celebrini here, continuing that train, you got the Black Diamond Celebrini. This is Team Logo Jumbo. So we talked about, obviously, the manufactured patches and everything, but I think the design of this one worked out okay. It is a sticker auto on this one, so just bear that in mind on there. So what you want to do is you want to use your eyes on this one, because a lot of times people will just buy something sight unseen. But take a look at it, see, make sure that you got the aesthetic you're looking for with the sticker auto and everything. You can kind of look at it more closely, and bear in mind that since these are the manufactured patches, they are thicker cards. So in this case, a PSA 8. But given the thicker card, that's not necessarily a bad thing, just because it's to be expected. The thicker cards don't do as well. It's tougher to get a 10. Let's just put it that way. All right, next one here, we got another Young Guns here. This is the Michkov Young Gun. So I think it's just the base version on this one, just kind of showcasing that. Here we've got 2023 Parkhurst Champions. Let me click on that again. This is the Connor McDavid Black. Now, I know the Black Parallel, but is actually, I think it is numbered, right? This is number 10?
Yeah, I believe it's the one out of 10. So yeah, hard to see.
Yeah, I can see it. It's a little bit tough to see with the color and everything, but it is there. So number 10.
I wish they would, do something different to make those numbers popped, because it's easy to miss it.
I would make if it was me, this is my suggestion to Upper Deck on these, I would make the foil gold on this one.
Yeah.
The gold would stick out well in contrast to the black. So it'd probably be a better choice for the foil.
Yeah. Or even white matches the trim, but yeah.
Sure. Yeah, just something that contrasts to the black, basically, is what you're looking for here. 2024 Black Diamond Lane Hudson, rookie gem signature. So a 9-card auto there. And this one is numbered to, looks like 99? Yeah, I think so. All right, perfect. So there's a couple of our new ones, and now you can kind of see there from the preview. So we've got a couple of things. So first, we got some vintage hockey. We got some of the tall boys here, Steve. So some pretty clean looking cards. You want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, it was a great week for vintage pickups. Gentlemen came into the store, and I try not to get too excited when people tell me they've got older sets. A lot of times people think older is from the 90s, which it is. But yeah, then this guy opens up a box, and here is a complete set of very nice tall boys. They're near mint. Some are better, some are X mint sort of thing. So to get this super tough set in high grade, I can't remember the last time I've purchased one. And then just the story that he told me, I asked him, like, do you have doubles or anything? And he's like, no. He's like, I put this set together on the schoolyard back in the day. So he would just trade whatever he had to trade to get the card he needed. And, when he finished the set, he just had the set and nothing left. So it's from the original owner. I know people use that term often, but this literally was from the original owner. So the fact that, he kept these oversized cards in this immaculate condition was impressive. And he also told me a story that I said, do you know what you want from them? And he informed me that someone had offered him $100 for the set. And it wasn't that long ago either, which is shocking. Yeah. So I kind of picked up a $500 Gordie Howe, and I said, well, this card here is worth $500. So I can guarantee I'll give you more than the 100 you were offered. So when we went through it and made an offer, big smile came across his face, and we shook hands on it. So he was very happy. And again, always like the story on how things are acquired.
Absolutely. And I was kind of showcasing, kind of scrolling through so you could see. You saw Bobby Hall, you see Johnny Bower, you see Terry Sawchuk. So you see a mix of all kinds of different players and different things. And kind of my favorite thing, Blair, as you well know, I'm a big fan of looking at the images, closely examining them. And this one's got some good stuff here. So Ed Johnston there, look at his jersey and look at the equipment. He looks like he can be blown over with stiff breeze. You got some good facial expressions on this, so if you pay attention, you can check that out. Personal favorite of mine, though. There's a couple of standouts here, but personal favorite of mine. Both Terry Sawchuk and Johnny Bower. Now, here's the thing you got to know. Johnny Bower was not a young man when he really established himself in the NHL. You can go take a look at the history of Johnny Bower. Now, Johnny Bower, and this year, I think Tall Boys is 65, 66. Is that about right?
64, 65.
64, 65. Yeah. So the point is that by this point in his life, Johnny Bower is, I think, in his early 40s. And he doesn't look a day older than 65. Some hard living is what I'm trying to get at. And look at Terry Sawchuk. He doesn't look much better, in terms of worse for wear. It's like there's some tough living here being a Maple Leafs goaltender these days, man. Look.
Yeah. Work hard, play hard.
Yeah, the card might be in good condition, Steve, but the players are a little bit more wear and tear on some of these guys here.
I don't think the puck was any softer back then.
No.
Well, I think that's part of it, Blair. But the other part of it is that it's one of the running jokes is that
That was
if you go back, look at some of the images back in the day for some, even into the 70s, every one of them is like, oh my God, how old is that 40-year-old man? It's like, he was 25 when they took that picture.
Yeah.
Some hard living, guys. You can see that through some of the images.
Yeah, definitely not the way it is right now.
Yeah.
With players.
Yeah. Well, you can see right here, Alan Stanley. And you look at Stan Bakita, and you look at some of these guys, it's like, and Glenn Hall has got the 1,000-yard stare. There's a lot going on over there right now.
Yeah. He looks a little tired. Makita.
Yeah, just,
I love the big head pictures.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting that facial expression up there. And like I said, kind of in the same vein as some of the other ones that I've showcased in the past, I think some of these people had like a personal issue with some of these players. Somebody did this man dirty. You probably had multiple choices. You really needed to do Jacques Leperrier like that. Somebody at Topps had it out for this guy is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. I got questions, Blair. I got serious questions. All right. So there is a stack of tall boys there. So some good stuff there. So
great set though. There's a lot of tough cards in there and a lot of short prints. And I see the Dornhofer was one of the ones I was chasing to try to finish the set. I think I was down to a couple. It was Dornhofer and I forget the other one now, which I actually, to finish the set, it took a couple of trips to Toronto with no luck. People had it, but it was in a complete set. They weren't breaking. Who was that? I forget who it was. Anyway, I got home from a Toronto Expo, got on eBay, found one graded a 7 and bought it. I said, I'm done. So I had the set plus one graded card. That's how I ended up finishing my set. But yeah.
Great, so definitely awesome kind of a classic set if you enjoy a lot of it. Very colorful, lots of interesting imagery on that. But then the other piece of it is you got to make sure you got the right kind of holders for it. So if you do end up collecting the set and picking up the singles, be aware they are tall boys, so they are a little bit weird configuration compared to what you're used to, which is, I think, part of what made them, in basketball, they tried it as well. It's one of the things that didn't make it last as long as some of the other designs. It didn't catch on, but they're kind of a cool oddity. As a result of it, it kept it unique. So it's a very specific point in time. Now here, Steve, we got a big lot of some vintage baseball, including a lot of Mantles. So we got a lot going on here. Can you tell us a bit about this one?
Yeah. I guess the one advantage of having, the PSA submission center, located in the stores is a lot of times, especially locals, they'll grade with their cards with the intention to sell them. So, I was just sitting there minding my own business and, this gentleman, asked if we were buying, and I said, well, if it's something we could use. And then he proceeded to plop all these cards on the table. And again, my jaw kind of dropped when I saw, I think there was like 11 Mantles, and then of course, who's who of, older Hall of Famers. So, and it turns out you forget who you've done business with in the past, but several years ago, we actually did purchase a Mickey Mantle rookie from this gentleman. So it was nice that, he remembered our dealings. And once we got talking, that, I was like, oh, okay. But anyway, same sort of thing. Baseball is a little bit harder to find in this region. So, we have the opportunity to pick up, 10 or 11 Mantles. And, they're just nice medium grades. They look fantastic in the showcase. And they're all priced sitting in our baseball showcase, waiting to find a new home. But it was a really good vintage pickup week.
Yeah. Now, some notable ones. There's some good ones on here. I've always been partial to the 58 Topps Mantle. That's one that I've always liked. You got a nice headshot on that one. A lot more flattering than some of the tall boy examples that we saw moments ago. They did Mickey Mantle. I think they like Mickey Mantle a little bit more. Just throwing it out there. The 58 All-Star Selection is a classic. That's a good one. Fan of that. I actually have one that I keep near my desk. I've actually got one here on the table over here. 69 Mantle was the last one. So then you got the white name, last name in yellow and last name in white. The yellow is the more common version of it, but I'm glad they put the labeling on there. So I think that's good. And some of these are nice, solid mid-grade. So it means you can get like decent looking copies where the price point doesn't, because especially for the 50s and 60s, as you get into the higher grades, the price escalates accordingly. So you got to be wary of that. And also interesting that they have some of the subset cards. So the 58 batting foes with Hank Aaron. So you're getting 2 Hall of Famers on there. That's pretty solid. In the same vein of what I was talking a moment ago, the 61 Topps Mantle MVP card is always one that I found interesting because, again, Mickey Mantle, I think, went through the same filter as some of those hockey players because in 61, Mantle still got years left. Mantle retired early, but Mantle looks haggard in that image. That was not a particularly good one for him. Some of them worked a little bit. He aged rapidly in the 60s. You can kind of see it in his face as you go into this. Because look, in 58, this is what Mantle looks like right there. And then look at what he looks like by 61. Those are hard 3 years, Steve. Those are real rough 3 years. What happened?
COVID.
Yeah.
Something happened. It's tough times, Steve. Tough times. Goodness. So yeah, you got the Manager's Dream 62. That's a good one. 60 Topps is always one design-wise that I always like. So you got the Hank Aaron there with the Willie Mays, the Bob Clemente, because they tried to make Americanized Roberto Clemente. It's like, we can't call him Roberto. We must call him Bob. That was always a weird quirk. Same thing with the 59. And then the Hank Aaron 59 as well. And then the Willie Mays here in the 61 as well. And for some reason, they decided to crop his image in such a way that his bat disappears.
Yeah, and part of his body.
You could hit anything. But yeah, no, it's a great, great grouping. And, they range in price from like, for the most part, $100 to $400. So it's a good way to, pick up a vintage Hall of Famer for a reasonable price. There's a couple more there that are a little more expensive, but overall, if you're wanting to add one of these Hall of Famers to your collection, you can do it, for a fair price.
Yeah,
Very nice.
They're already graded, so there you go.
Yeah, most of the work is done for you. So very nice. Good stuff, Steve. So promised a little bit of the vintage, so we got that in there. Excellent. Good stuff. All right, so let's go into the EX2000 here. This is 23-24, so it is a Bedard rookie year set, although that's lost a little bit of its cachet because right now the momentum on Bedard has slowed down quite a bit. Again, pricing, availability, and everything, reach out directly to the store. Now, the big selling point of this one really comes down to kind of going back to the old school as far as 90s, because it's borrowing off of the 96-97 EX2000 basketball. That's kind of what we're, invoking here. So it's got a very 90s aesthetic. So I'll kind of zip through some of this, but again, I'll include a link in the description to this for you so that you can check it out for yourself. Check out the checklist because you may find some interesting things in there. I'll point to a couple of specific things that may be worth your attention, but just bear that in mind. And then I think on Facebook, they may have had some images, so I might be able to grab a couple of those for you in a minute. So first of all, we got our parallels and everything. So base set is 150 cards, includes 50 rookies that are every other pack. In terms of design, we're going with the old school, so you can see there. If you're familiar with the 90s version of it, it borrows from that aesthetic. It's very similar to it. You do have some parallels on here. You've got all access credentials. You got credentials numbered to $4.99, blue credentials numbered to $2.99, essential credentials, which is very faithful to the original. I'll show you a picture in a minute. Numbered to $99, gold essential credentials out of $50, all access gold credentials out of $10, printing plate 1 of 1s, and VIP credentials 1 of 1s. So we got our 1 of 1s in there. Autographs and inserts. We have autographics, which should be very nice in hand. Classic design on these. Very good. And I will say for me personally, I did examine the checklist ahead of time. Blair, they did me a solid. There's only one Mike Modano card in the entire thing, and it's an autographics. I like me an autograph, but there's only one. That's all I got to chase. It's just one card. Not going to be easy to find because they are a little bit tough. The veterans are 1 in 280 packs, and the rookies are 1 in 140. So just bear that in mind. The veterans are actually a little bit tougher, and there are separate sections to the checklist on that. But nonetheless, borrowing from the classic autographics design from SkyBox, nice. Thumbs up for me on that one. Big fan. Okay, so we got some other inserts on here. You've got a couple of different examples. So you got reverberation here is what they're showing as an example. Stardate 3000 is one, so you can see what that looks like here. I'll show you pictures of it to get a little bit of a better idea with the shine and everything. Very die cut heavy, I will say. A lot of these inserts are very die cut heavy. Yeah. That is a mixed bag, I'm going to say. So I'll just be very blunt about this. Some of them I think were done very well, and I think were executed very well. But one thing I don't like about having too many die cuts, Blair, is that it makes it sometimes tough to put it in the holder properly. So you have to get it in the penny sleeve and put it in the top load or whatever. I don't mind having die cuts. I just think they maybe went die cut happy on these inserts. A lot of them are die cut, which I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of. Again, to each their own, but that's just a personal opinion. Strictly my opinion.
I agree. You're true. It's a lot of them can look really nice. I actually like, going through stacks and stuff. That's a great looking card, but also that other end, difficult to deal with. And then, how is the condition? It's a little tougher, maybe getting them out of the factory in the packs and into the boxes, condition wise, but we will see.
Yep, absolutely. So again, just interjecting that's a personal opinion. Again, to each their own. You may check it out in hand and really like them. And I think some of these are going to turn out very nicely in hand, but it's one of those things where you got to take a closer look. So you've got different ones in there. Index movers is one that I'll actually show you a picture of here in a minute from their Facebook. It'll give you kind of a sense of what I was talking about with the die cuts. It'll show you better than these mock-ups. So we'll get into it in a second. Net assets, if you like the goalie themed inserts, All or Nothing, Reverberation. So that's 1 in 40 packs.
Yeah.
So the E-Exceptional, there were a couple one in the 90s and early 2000s that kind of borrowed from this. I think the terms of the it's not a I want to say similar to kind of a Sports Flicks, but it's not. But it creates kind of a 3D-ish effect. That's one you'll have to see in hand because the mock-up is a little bit flat. If they use the type of material that I'm used to seeing with this, especially from the 90s and 2000s version, I think it'll actually look pretty good in hand. Unfortunately, the mock-up kind of doesn't do it justice. It's a little bit flat. So just check out one in hand if you get a chance, and I think it'll be interesting for you. Now, they are tough, though. E-Exceptional is 1 in 576 packs. So very tough to pull. There's a double helix, and then there's a gold parallel to double helix. Again, I think I can show you a picture of it. So separate from this, so we'll get into it. So here's the configuration. So you get 2 cards per pack, 24 packs per box. So the box is 48 cards, 12 boxes per hobby case. And as far as what to expect in it, now I like the breakdown of this. What to expect in Hobby Box. 8 inserts and 2 parallels. That's your breakdown. 8 inserts and 2 parallels. Thank you for the description. Very descriptive. I appreciate that. Okay. So anyway, so you got your different breakdown on this. And by the way, there is an e-pack version. So you can see there it says 1 and 2 e-pack. So just bear that in mind. So again, all the parallels we talked about, you're going to be able to see all the checklists. The inserts are kind of what we outlined. There's a couple of different ones here. And then you do have your autograph checklist, including the autographics and such. So I'm going to back out of this for a second. On the Facebook page, I'll include a link to this in the description for you. They do have, Upper Deck did showcase a couple of these. And it looks like these came from the factory itself. So these are potentially showing what the actual cards look like. So here's a Sidney Crosby as an example of a VIP credentials. But I want to show you this one. So this is all access credentials of Marc-Andre Fleury. So you see a little bit of foil treatment on the outside of it as an example. So here's a gold version of that. Another gold version. Here's your All or Nothing. Again, a die cut, star date, die cut. You're kind of getting a sense of it. And the Stutzla. So our resident Sens fan might appreciate that one. So we'll throw that one in there. So here's a McDavid. This is the parallel version of it. Can you see there's a little bit of kind of a different kind of foil that they used to get a little bit of that, kind of star sparkle on it. So in hand, I think some of these are going to look pretty good when you see the treatment. Here is the index movers. Very die cut. I can see you damaging about 12 corners on this.
I will not be putting those in top loaders. I'll hand that
Handle
over
with
to,
care. Handle with care.
Someone with good eyes can put those in the holders.
Whew.
Yeah. So hopefully now you see what I was talking about being very die cut heavy. I might have recommended holding back a little bit on the die cuts on this one. So here's Reverberation. Again, die cut. Same thing. Net assets. Die cut. You're getting kind of a sense of that. So let me see if I can back up here. Let me go back here a little bit. I want to show you one. Here you go. So here is your essential credentials. So they used a foil treatment with the little stars that's actually fairly faithful to the original, which I appreciate. That's good. I like, if you're going to invoke this, you got to do it. If you're going to do the essential credentials, really lean into the similar type of foil that they used back then. So it looks like they did do that with the acetate. So this one gets a thumbs up from me. At least a close, hopefully. I'd have to see one in hand to be 100%. But from this image, it looks like they got pretty close to the look of the original. And that's what you want for this. If you're going to invoke this, you need to get as close as possible to getting the OG look with modern players in this case.
Yeah, I actually like the looks of it too, just because it is different. So one of our bread and butters is our discount box. So it'll be nice just to add some different looking cards into those boxes to spruce it up a little bit. So all in all, it's what I expected. And so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. So like everything else, we'll always say, check it out in hand. That'll be the best way for you to get the full experience. If you do get a chance to look at it, if it's, if the box is a little bit rich for your blood, again, check out the pricing and availability directly. Some of those singles, though, should be pretty attractive. They should be kind of fun to track down. And some of them are not too tough. So it's one of those things. Some of them are fairly fair, especially if you're not collecting the top end. If you're not chasing after the McDavids and the Crosbys and some of the rookies and everything, you might be able to get yourself, though, some of your favorite players and some of those parallels for a reasonable price, all things considered, for singles.
Yeah, we usually don't open product. A lot of customers will open it and sell it back to us, but I think that one I might see if we can finagle a couple boxes just to open and get the ball rolling, to get some of those, like I said, just the cards, whether it's in the showcase or discount box. So Sherry doesn't know this, but she will after she watches the podcast. But please, can we open a couple boxes for the store? But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. And I remember I used to collect a little bit, 20 plus years ago. And I do remember the EX 2000 set, and I enjoyed it. So I think this will, but it was more on the basketball side. But I definitely look forward to this product.
Hey, you see, Blair, this is exciting.
I know.
The EX product brought in the nostalgia, the collector, the Scallop's heart grew 3 sizes.
Yeah, I don't get too excited on new stuff. So
no.
A little stroll down memory lane, I guess.
So don't let us down, Upper Deck, because this is an exciting moment. This is big. By the way, if you guys open the box, someone have the camera around, do it for the content. Do it for the content. So we would appreciate that. But regardless, hopefully you enjoy. Check it out. They are some nice looking cards. Look, like I said, even for me, I'm not collecting anybody that's in the current checklist. They put the Modano autographics. I'm in. We're going. I'm going to be chasing that one down. So the good news is, even if you like some of the legends and some of the classic, they did sneak a couple into the checklist. Check the checklist, because that'll be the best way to know. Maybe somebody in there that is interesting. Also, if you get the index movers, handle with care. You saw all those corners and edges. There's a lot of corners, extra corners where you don't expect corners. So be very careful. Handle carefully with all the die cuts.
Probably be a fun, fun chase for people that like to grade, because they'll probably be tough to get 10s on those with so many points.
So many points of interest.
Yes.
But yeah, you get, so now hopefully you get a better sense. So like I said, I'll include a link to that Facebook page, because Upper Deck did have a gallery that you can see some of those different inserts and parallels and everything to get a sense of it. It is nice to be able to see some of the cards where you can actually see the foil, because the mock-ups are always going to be a little bit flat. You don't really get the full sense of it. So some of those images, they were able to take real pictures. I think that helps to get a better sense of what kind of you're looking at as far as the cards are concerned. We'll give you reminders next week. We'll start next week there to talk about Trade Night and Card Show. That'll be forthcoming, but next week I think we can start giving you those reminders again. But remember, it's generally speaking, the end of the month. So usually the last Friday and Saturday of the month, that's usually how it goes, but we'll give you exact dates and everything, and we'll confirm all the details, but we'll start that again up next week. Anything else we want to touch on, Steve, before we call it an episode?
Yeah, hot off the press. Last night, we were able to secure an amount of sealed Pokemon, which of course is flying off the shelf. So we did find some through the distributor. I believe it will be on the shelves Friday. So just wait until Friday, and when it comes, Blair will do his usual pictures and post it. But I think we have a pretty good allotment coming on Friday. I think it's shipped today, so probably arrive Thursday evening or Friday morning. But my guess is we won't be on the floor till Friday. So hold your inquiries until Friday, till we figure out what all's coming and when it will be on the shelf.
Very nice, very nice. And as always, quick reminder there at the tail end, we include a link in the description to it, but there's always the auctions and things going on at the eBay store. So you've got the Sunday to Sunday. You've got auctions going on all the time, stuff rotating in and out, new and old. So we've shown you in the past, new and old, multi-sport, non-sport. There's all kinds of stuff on there. So we always kind of point your direction. If you're interested, you can follow the store, and that way you can see what new auctions come up as new things get put in. Sometimes stuff will come in the store and then it'll wind up in the eBay store. So it'll give you a chance. And if you have any questions about any of the stuff you saw, some of the vintage cards, some of the modern cards, a little bit of that, you can reach out directly to the store. That'll be the quickest way to get answers. And then for pricing and availability, like I said, reach out directly to the store. That'll be the quickest way to get answers. Autograph inquiries for Bonus Blair, reach out directly to the store to get your answers. He might be out of 8x10s.
Yeah, they're a little sought after.
Yeah. 16x20s, you might still have a shot, but the 8x10s might be a little short supply.
I think I have a similar head structure to the tall boys.
You look good on the tall boy, actually.
Yeah.
Listen,
It
Blair,
might stretch me. It might stretch me a little bit. Maybe I'll look 5 pounds later.
listen, Blair, all I got to say is based on the tall boys we just saw, we put your head on one of those tall boys and I'm like, man, see, that's a 20-year-old in 1965.
Yeah.
Bang on. Like bang, you would fit right in. No
Yeah.
problem. Done. Not a day over 20. So, Bonus Blair, Collector Scalps, Collector People, as always, we thank Brad for joining us on a brief cameo appearance. And then again, if there's anything related to any of that stuff, we'll include a link in the description to that as well so that you can follow along and then we'll get updates from anything happening with PSA Canada. So that's it for us on this one. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next one.